Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kristin and today I am giving you guys the Black Booktuber Tag. I was tagged a total of 4 times, so it's time I sit down and actually film this video. Thank you for tagging me, Erin from Booked and Busy, Monet from Life is Monet, Natalie from Nat's Nook, and my Reese. Thank you all for tagging me. This goes out to you, and I will link all of their channels down below. Please check them all out. They all deserve a subscribe from you. And for today's segment for Medical Spotlight with Kristin G, I will be highlighting Black inventors in the medical field. But without further ado, let's get into these questions for the Black Booktuber Tag created by Reading Black, and I will link their channel down below as well. The first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself. So I'm Kristin, I'm 22, I live in Los Angeles, California. I'm a pre-med student. I would like to be a pediatrician. I love the kids. I love dancing. I've grown up doing dance, whether that's hip hop, ballet, jazz, tap, all that good stuff. And in high school, I was a cheerleader. And in college, I was a part of a couple of dance teams. I actually really need to get back to dancing now that I think about it because I love it so much. Almost as much as I love reading. I also love to eat. That's like basic. If you want to know anything about me, know that I love my food and I'm there if food is involved. Question 2 is, who's a Black author that you love that not many people talk about? And for that, I'm going with Alexa Martin. It shouldn't be a surprise if you've seen my mid-year freakout tag because I raved about her book Intercepted that I read. And it's just amazing. If you love drama, if you love sports, if you love Black people, if you love love, I think you'll love Alexa Martin. There are 4 books in the series. You have Intercepted, you have Fumbled, you have Blitzed, and you have Snapped. And they all have to do with football and a football player dating or engaging with another person. I've only read Intercepted and Fumbled, but I'm definitely going to read Blitzed and Snapped very soon. This year, most definitely. And I just think everybody should just try out Alexa Martin if you're looking for some fun adult romance. It's super cute because Alexa Martin married her high school sweetheart who ended up playing in the NFL, and so it's very obvious that her stories and her characters are based on real life people, whether that's her husband's teammates. So I just think it's really cool that she based a part of her life in her stories. Question 3 is your favorite book about the Black experience, and for that I'm going with Black Man in a White Coat by Damon Tweedy. This is a story of Damon Tweedy starting from when he was in medical school all the way through his residency and as an attending and a real life doctor as well. I picked this book up because lately this year, starting last year really, I started reading more memoirs. And so I have read Becoming by Michelle Obama, We're Going to Need More Wine by Gabrielle Union, Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, Around the Way Girl by Taraji P. Henson. I read all those memoirs because I wanted to read more about the personal lives of Black people. And when I saw Black Man in a White Coat, a book written by a Black man who's a doctor, we definitely don't see that perspective enough in the media or in the books that we read. And so I definitely wanted to pick up this book to get kind of an idea of what the Black man might experience in medicine. The narrative is always more heavily focused on Black women, and I just wanted to make sure that the voices of Black men in medicine are being heard as well. And because there are Black doctors, Black male doctors, and I just wanted to read about the experience. Question 4 is my favorite book by a Black author, and for that I'm going with Children of Blood and Bone and Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, which I've read very recently. I love fantasy, and a fantasy written by a Black woman with an all-Black cast is just something that made my heart so happy when I read it. It's not the perfect book, of course, but it's something that I needed and I hadn't seen or really had the chance to read and dive into. I know there are a lot of fantasy books by Black authors and I can't wait to read them all, but this just happens to be one of the first ones I've read, and so it holds a special place in my heart. I love it so much. Y'all need to read it. I just think that the premise of the book is super important and I just love to see it. And I can't wait for the TV show, which I hope that they don't jack up. Question 5, recommend a Black and queer book. And for that, I'm recommending You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson, which I also read very recently during the Queer Blackathon that happened Juneteenth weekend. And I'm very happy that I listened to that book. It was so adorable, so cute. Liz Leidy is an awesome person, an awesome character. I love the way she was written. I love the romance that was building between Liz and Mac. I love the ending. It was just so sweet. And once again, my heart, very happy. You should read it. Question 6, recommend a book with a Black person on the cover. And for that, I'm going with Slay by Brittany Morris. I loved that book. It's definitely one of my favorite books that I've read this year. And the cover is absolutely stunning. She looks beautiful. I just love the fact that a Black girl created an entire video game that became so popular worldwide. Like, I love that for her, and I love that for Brittany Morris for bringing that to the YA world. Question 7, recommend a book by a Black author that made you happy. And for that, I'm going with Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, which I picked up on as an ebook, and I absolutely adored it. I am trying to get into adult romance, which is why I've been reading a few this year, and this was one of the ones that I picked up randomly. At that point, I hadn't heard much about it, but the premise of it sounded really awesome because we have a disabled girl with a chronic illness, and she's Black, she's not a size 0, and I just think that's representation that we needed in the adult romance world, and I'm so happy that I read it. I need to read Take a Hint, Danny Brown, which I have yet to buy yet. I'm tripping. I need to just go ahead and buy that because I need it in my life and I need it now. Question 8 is recommend some Black booktubers, and I recommend Erin, Monet, Maya, Christine, Myreese, Lexi, and if I think of anybody else, I'll leave them linked below. But those are definitely some Black booktubers that you definitely need to check out. Question 9, talk about a book that's coming out in 2020 that's by a Black author. And for that, I'm going with Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Barron, coming out July 7th. So in a couple of days, and maybe it's already out by the time that you're watching this video, but as of today, it's not out. So it's still, I'm going to talk about it because I'm very excited about it, and I definitely will be reading it when it comes out. But basically, it's a Cinderella retelling, but it's 200 years in the future, so like 200 years after Cinderella has found her prince. There are themes about like taking down the patriarchy, which I love to see. I support that. So it's definitely something that I want to read, and it's by a Black author, and it's got some Black characters in it. Lastly, question 10, tag some Black booktubers. And honestly, if you're Black, if you're watching this, if you're a booktuber, please do this tag because it was so much fun to do, and I love talking about anything that has to do with being Black, so I was here for this tag. It just took me a little while to do it. So if you are Black booktuber, go ahead and please bless us with a Black booktuber tag. I would love that. Overall, I'm just very excited to continue to read books by Black authors as we're seeing way more representation by Black authors in all genres of books. And not to say that we're perfect, we still have a lot of work to do, but I just am very happy that there has been a lot of Black authors getting the recognition that they deserve, and I will definitely be supporting them forever and always. And now we're gonna switch on over to Medical Spotlight with Kristin G, and we're gonna talk about some Black excellence. Just because it's July and not February does not mean that we cannot highlight the lovely, the wonderful accomplishments, the inventions that Black people have created and have contributed to specifically the field of medicine. I think it's very important to look at history and understand that a lot of the procedures and a lot of the machines that we see that we use today in the field of medicine were in fact created by Black people. And it's especially important and especially excellent because during the times where a lot of these inventions and machines were created were during the times of huge racial tensions between whites and Blacks. And so these Black people had to overcome a lot of obstacles and exhibit resiliency to show that no, y'all are going to accept our inventions because we have good ideas too. And they just created things that shut these white people up, honestly. Like, they really could not say anything because at the end of the day, we needed these inventions for medicine to succeed. I will of course leave some links to a couple of the articles I looked at to find my information if you want to learn more about the specific people that I am about to talk about. And first, I just want to highlight a couple of people who were first, like first Black blank, you know? And I have my handy dandy good notes app here on my iPad that I will be looking at throughout this. First up, we have Rebecca Crumpler, who was the first Black woman to receive a medical degree from a US college. This occurred in 1864. In 1883, she published her book of medical disclosures, where she pulled info from her clinical experiences with the hopes of supporting women and helping them to take care of their families better. Next, we have Daniel Hale Williams, who was the second physician ever to perform open heart surgery in 1893. And this was so groundbreaking because penicillin or blood transfusions had not been created yet, and so it was literally an open heart surgery, and it was successful. He's also credited with being the founder of the first non-segregated hospital in Chicago. Next is somebody I absolutely look up to and adore, and that is Alexa Kennedy, who was the first Black female neurosurgeon in the United States in 1981, which is absolutely crazy to me. Like, 1981 was dang near yesterday, and that was the first Black neurosurgeon we've ever had. Like, that blows my mind, but I'm still so proud of her. And the reason why I look up to her is because she's a pediatric neurosurgeon, and I'm thinking about maybe going into that field, but I don't know because surgery is hard, neurosurgery is hard, like, I don't know. So like I said, we'll see, but I love the kids and I'd love to help them in any way that I can. So pediatric neurosurgery might be the way to go. Number 4 on my list is Patricia Bath, who was the first Black female to earn a patent for a medical invention in 1988. I'm gonna read from here from my notes. She invented a device called the laser phaco probe with the intention of refining laser cataract surgery. So a cataract is a clouding of the vision that can't be necessarily corrected by glasses, and so these patients have to have a surgery. And these patients are usually older. You start getting cataracts when you're older. What's so good about the laser cataract surgery is that it's more precise, it's more accurate than just a normal cataract surgery. And so this invention that Patricia Bath has created just adds to the effect and just makes it so much better. Next up, we have Charles Drew. There's an entire university named after him, which I attended for my post-bac this past year. And so he holds a special place in my heart because I did take a seminar class that was taught by his daughter, and so we read a book about him and got some personal real life stories from his daughter about who Charles Drew was as a man, and I will always remember that. But basically, Charles Drew is the pioneer of blood transfusion. He is credited with creating blood banks, those that ultimately have turned into the Red Cross blood bank. That's him. That's Charles Drew. That's all him. Whenever you get your blood test, you can thank him for that. If you need blood transfusions, you can thank him for that. He's an amazing guy. He's strong. He has so much compassion, so much love for his patients, for his family. He was an advocate for Black people. They were talking about, oh, they wanted to segregate the blood that Black people donated versus what white people donated. And he was like, nah, we gotta cut that out because blood is blood. There's no Black blood, there's no white blood. We need to cut that out. And so that's just an example. He's awesome. I encourage you all to do some research on Charles Drew. You will not be mad. Next up, we have Alice Augusta Ball, which blew my mind when I heard her story because she is a chemist known for developing an injectable oil extract that treated leprosy back in the early 1900s. And I was like, okay, that's real cool, girl. But she died an untimely death at 24, which means that she created this before she died at 24. I'm 22. What have I done? I've done nothing to advance the medical field, to advance the chemical field. Like, I haven't. So it just blows my mind that a 24-year-old girl was able to do something so innovative. This was the only way to be treated for leprosy back in the day. It was by her method. And it's just, I just love being Black. We have Leonidas Berry, who created a device to remove diseased stomach tissue. Otis Boykin invented a control unit for the artificial cardiac pacemaker that uses electrical impulses to maintain a regular heartbeat. We got Black people out here helping with the heartbeats. I'm just so happy. Samuel Counts developed the Belzer kidney perfusion machine that preserves a kidney for up to 50 hours from the time it is removed from a donor's body. And he was the first person to perform a kidney transplant between non-twins. A kidney being preserved for up to 50 hours after being taken out of the donor's body, that's very innovative, that's very necessary, because somebody from Chicago might need a kidney transplant, but the only person they can get it from is somebody in California. Then you have to transport that kidney to Chicago, and it needs to be preserved somehow. I'm so proud and blessed to be part of a rich culture full of resilient people, and I hope to contribute to the field of medicine one day. I'm looking forward to that day. I want to help the kids, I want to help the people, and I don't know, like, this talk that I am doing just inspired me to do something. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll go volunteer somewhere. Like, I just feel inspired. I don't know about y'all, but I'm inspired. I hope I inspired y'all to at least have an interest to want to look more into some of the people that I've talked about, learn more about some Black history, and I'll do the same. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give this a big like, comment down below, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can get all the notifications whenever I release a video. And until next time, bye guys!